Ooh,
Hey.
Hello.
the show was over before it started. So, Q, you're back, and we actually, Haley could not be on the show tonight. I got a text from her right before we started recording. She got a little busy, but that's okay because we have an exciting addition to the show. Carly Althoff
Yay.
has joined us, live studio audience in the form of the sound effect. So, welcome, Carly, and I think I looked it up. I think you've been on the show 3 times before. The
Oh
first
wow.
was during WoW Week before you even started your freshman year.
Yep, I remember I knew nothing about architecture or Cal
It's all right. I
Poly.
still know nothing about architecture, but
And now let's see what's going on in your world right now.
Well, I am currently in my fifth year and I'm working on my thesis project. I'm actually wrapping it up. The final show is my final studio show is in 3 weeks. And so yeah, my thesis is has been my life for the past 6 or so, 7 months. And I'm doing a humanitarian project that's in the Philippines, and I'm working with a local nonprofit called Journeyman International,
Yeah, we love
and
German International. They're
they
great.
are great. And I've loved working with them, and I've been kind of partnering with some other nonprofits to get this thing built. And it's a community center and disaster relief facility in the Philippines. And I started doing a lot of research, and that led into the design process and networking with all these people who are involved and totally invested in the project. There's actually a guy who moved his family to the city that my project is based in, just
What
to
city?
oversee construction.
What city is your project in?
It's called Tacloban, and it's
oh,
yeah, it's like, yeah, you
it's
know about it?
I do actually. I visited the island of Samar a couple of years
Yeah.
back, and so I actually visited Tacloban as well.
Oh my gosh, it's
Yeah,
beautiful. I got to go in January and visit my site and get to know
Very.
the people, and it was incredible. So I
very
feel
cool.
I feel incredibly lucky to be a part of the project and hopefully see this thing through construction and be able to visit again sometime soon.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm only familiar with Manila and the areas
Hmm.
that my business partner, Conrad de Jesus, his parents actually live maybe, I don't know, 70 kilometers south of Manila. So I'm
Hmm.
familiar with that area. But yeah, there's so many islands. How
Yeah.
how did you pick a site down there? Did Journeyman International identify the project and then you came on, or did you identify the project?
Well, actually, Journeyman International has a connection to, well, this other nonprofit called Mission to the World does some disaster relief missionary work, and they are the ones who tracked down this project and established where it would be. And then when they reached out to Journeyman, um, when they needed a designer, then Journeyman told me, like, this is the nonprofit you're working with, and they are picking out a site for you. And so they essentially gave me the specifications and the site, and I adapted to the program and everything.
Very cool.
And I think it's
And
a perfect match.
and Tacloban was hit pretty hard a couple of years back during the hurricane,
Right.
right?
Yeah, yeah, that's a lot of my thesis research was around the idea of tropical storms and
Hmm.
like disaster relief and like the effects of natural disaster on people. And so that's a really interesting dynamic of the project, and it's been really interesting to learn more about.
Awesome.
Yeah, because most of the tropical storms, from what my quick Google search is showing me, they come up from the southeast portion there. So
Right,
those eastern islands get hit the hardest.
exactly.
Wow, that's very cool. Well, we should officially open the show as we typically do, and we've got sound effects
Preparing
back this year.
digital transmission. Initiate startup process. Go.
Well, I will officially welcome you to the studio, the official podcast of the Slow Arc Foundation. And we are here tonight, as I've said, with myself, Tim Alatorre, with Q Kim and Carly Althoff, and this is episode 122 for April 21st, 2015. And that's the only other sound effect I have. So all the other ones are gone right now.
It's the only one we need.
Yeah.
We're piecing the show back together little by little. Hopefully better than it was before. So awesome, we caught up with Carly. That's really fun stuff, and boy, I remember those last couple weeks before the final show in Chumash. I did not sleep. So much stress.
Yeah.
So let's run down some slow arc news real quick, just about us. We had the tradition before of announcing who our new Facebook fans were, and I've gotten the notice that we do have some new Facebook fans. So thank you to whoever friended us. But Facebook has changed the way they've allowed us access to who our fans are, and I can't tell anymore who the new people are. So that tradition is gone. Also, I put out on Facebook and LinkedIn just our thoughts about changing the name for the podcast, and I got 0 responses, which means to me that people either don't care or they like the way it is right now. So I guess we'll stick with the studio. Any objections? No.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
And then just some other. So just another plug. We are working to put together a scholarship program, and I've done a lot of research on it the last week. It's actually a lot more complicated than I had originally thought, but we can still do it. I don't give up on stuff just because it's complicated. So Carly, you're new to this this piece of the show. Do you have any thoughts about what we're doing, or what you'd like us to do, or what you'd like to see the podcast do?
Well, I do. I like the idea of you getting feedback from like students who are currently in the program. I think that's awesome. Like how you kind of followed me. Like my experience with the Slow Arc podcast was kind of coming back and checking in every once in a while, and I really like that. I think that would be cool if you kept that going, if you haven't already been doing that.
No, you're actually the only person we've had on from the very beginning through now. Like everyone else, we have had people on a couple times during their time at Poly, but it's really hard to get freshmen. And I think we just at the right time at Wow Week where we ran into you. And I think you were you in the Sequoia Hall? Your freshman?
Yes. Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, Jeanette Sen was your RA, right?
Yes. Yeah, she was.
I think that's how we connected with you, because we knew Jeanette.
Okay.
And or Haley did. Haley knows everybody.
Yeah.
And she
Jeanette is great.
Yeah, and she graduated last year, I think.
2 years ago, I think.
Maybe, I don't know. It's all blurred together.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that'd be great though if we could get more of that, because I think one of the fun things is seeing how you've progressed through the years, but then also just plugging into what's going on with the program and how it's changed when we were there or when people much older than us were there.
Yeah.
And then did you get a chance to go up to Design Village this last weekend?
I didn't. I was out of town. I was visiting home last weekend, so I didn't get to go up there, but I saw a lot of construction in the architecture building in the days leading up to the Design Village, and it looked like there are some pretty interesting projects. I'd love to, hopefully I'll hear about how they hung in there through the night. That's like the most challenging part.
Yeah, I think Ryan Brockett posted a couple photos on his Facebook page.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got to check in with Ryan and Umberto as well, and I think some of the freshman classes took participation in the whole event and put together some things and took it down to Poly Canyon.
That's one of my favorite projects. It's very hands-on.
I'm trying to find some pictures really quickly, but everything's from the prior years on the web.
Yeah, I was checking out the website as well. It doesn't look like they have any pictures from this year quite yet, but maybe some of our Facebook fans can post some of their own pictures or share some links.
That would be great. And then coming up this weekend, there is a construction management job fair.
Yeah, this Friday from 9:30 to 12 p.m. at the Chumash Auditorium, and it does seem like it's a CM-oriented job fair, but perhaps some opportunities for architects or anybody that's crazy enough to do a CM minor while doing architecture to kind of get involved and check out any possible jobs for the upcoming future.
Yeah, it does say that all majors and all class levels are welcome. So
Right.
even if you're not interested in CM, if you're a underclass member and you want to go get the experience of talking to recruiters and seeing what it's like, it's probably a good idea. Now, Carly, are you involved in a job hunt at this point? I'm guessing you are.
I'm in the thick of the job hunt. I think I'm one of the first to get on the job hunt way back in like January, February, and I'm now one of the stragglers still who doesn't have anything lined up 100%. But I am waiting on a few people, and I have a few different really interesting options right now that I'm weighing, and yeah, so it's exciting, but I actually have no idea exactly what's next.
So if you could pick your ideal job in architecture, what would it be? What would you be doing?
Well, my ideal job. Do you mean like right out of school or later on in life?
Both.
Oh,
Right
man.
now, and then, yeah, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Well, right now I think my biggest hope is to land this internship with Walt Disney Imagineering that I interviewed for a few weeks back, and I'm waiting. I should be hearing back any time now whether or not I got the internship. But Disney Imagineering, the architecture department within the umbrella of Imagineering, is kind of my dream job, and so that would be really That would be really fun to get into. And at some point down the road, if it doesn't happen now, I'd love to get into it later, and hopefully use the connections that I've made recently to work with Disney someday. But at this point, I'm kind of exploring different areas of architecture, like residential or hospitality or retail side or commercial, whatever. And I'm discovering slowly like what I don't want to do, and a little bit more every day more of what I do want to do or what I see myself doing. So right now it's a few different things that I could see myself, different areas that I could see myself in. But I definitely, I anticipate kind of jumping around in the next 10 years or so, just exploring and figuring out more what I want.
Yeah,
That's great.
That's really common. I think everyone gets that first job and then figures out a bit more what they want to do, and then you kind of bounce around for a while until you settle into something. It's pretty
I've been,
to come out of school and stick with the same job for 20 years.
Yeah.
Definitely a good time to be graduating and job searching, as opposed to back when I graduated back in 2008. A lot of us had jobs, and then once we graduated, we found out that a lot of those job offers were actually revoked. So
oh, no.
I'm happy for you and the graduating class that you guys have so many options, and I'm sure you'll find something that works. And like Tim said, as you kind of progress down the road, you kind of figure out more what you want to do, more what you don't want to do, and hopefully end up in the place that's perfect for you. So,
yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks. Yeah.
Danielle.
A little nerve-wracking.
Yeah, Danielle Liu, who we've had on the show back in the day, she graduated from Cal Poly in 2012. She's working in engineering. I'll reach out to her and say, hey, put a good word in for Carly.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think they're probably reviewing my portfolio and stuff right now and deciding, so I'm just crossing my fingers right now.
Yeah, I'll send her a Facebook message right now. I have no idea if she has any pull on hiring, but she
Yeah.
did in a video that the Imagineering team put out about what was it? It was the all deep connections to Walt Disney's vision in Tomorrowland. Mash got this video, and they interviewed a bunch of head people, including George Clooney and Danielle was in the video. So.
Oh my gosh, the new Tomorrowland movie.
I'll see what she can do about getting you a job.
Oh, that would be amazing.
So let's see, we got that, and then Solar Decathlon.
Yeah, Carly, is there any buzz around campus or within the architecture department about the Solar Decathlon and the project itself, or is it still kind of just in the beginning phases? I'm sure there will be a lot of work done over the summer to actually get the thing built. Right?
Yeah, I haven't heard a lot of information about the project, but I do have a good friend who is also a fifth year, and he's been working really hard on the decathlon, and it sounds like they're gonna be like in the heat of designing and the craziness in these next coming weeks too. So I can check with him and get back to you, but it sounds like it's going to be a really cool thing because I've seen his project kind of progress, and it's really exciting.
There's actually going to be a reception in Sacramento first part of May. Here's a picture I pulled up real quick of the Solar Decathlon project for this year. So I'm going to try to... Can you guys see that? Does that show up?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yep.
So I'm going to try to get over there. Let's see what's... It's I got a personal invitation. I need an RSVP. I'm on some mailing list. Let's see. It's May 6th from 6 to 8 p.m. So I'm not sure who exactly got this invitation, but if you're in the Sacramento area and you're interested, contact me and I can forward this on to you, and you can RSVP. So I guess see, Lisa Marie Mueller and Alyssa Parr are the co-leaders for the Solar Decathlon this year. And let's see, what other information do we have?
The event itself will be held from October 8th through the 11th, and then the 15th through the 18th, and it will be held at the Orange County Great Park in Irvine, California. Admission is free.
Yeah, how long have they been doing it in California? Is this the first year? Because they used to do it on the National Mall.
Yeah, I don't think it's the first year in Irvine. I think they've gone kind of back and forth throughout the years, but it does look like this year it's not out in DC, but it will be down in Irvine.
Oh, here I found their website. I'll do a quick screen share on this one. So here is their project right here. Let's click on the design button. There's some pictures. And there's the team. There they are. Okay, so what's next? We've got
Pop Arc.
I got to. Yeah, where is it? Here we go.
Pop
Slow on the button.
That's awesome.
Okay, so our Pop Arc segment this bi-week. I'm not sure how we're going to refer to it. This show. Did you find this one, Q?
Yeah, I came across this. I thought it was pretty interesting. But George Lucas, of course famous for his Star Wars movies, seems to be getting involved or interested in building affordable housing. And I thought one of the more interesting parts about the article that I posted was that he is the owner of the land and he is willing to put up his own funding for the project. And if you read through the article, he talks about how he just felt that affordable housing is always lacking, and he wanted to do something about that. And it sounds like a good idea. I hope the project goes through and that everything goes well. But I thought I'd just throw it out there and maybe get some comments from you guys as well. Yeah, there's a picture of the Skywalker Ranch up in Marin, and it looks so similar to San Luis Obispo's landscape, actually.
Yeah, most of this part of California, from like San Luis Obispo up past Marin, it's all pretty similar. Now, I thought there was some ulterior motive. Like, this wasn't his first idea. Where was this? Yeah, so he tried to expand his production company studios, and the Marin County community pushed back. And then he tried to sell the land to a developer to build affordable housing. But now he's decided just to do it himself and pay for it. So that was the kind of roundabout way that he got into it. So he's going to put 224 affordable housing units on Grady Ranch. And that's significant. I'm building a couple of houses in Marin County right now, and I've done work there before over the last several years. And like, there's something, you cross over the Golden Gate Bridge and you head to that northern part of the Bay Area, and property values are just through the roof, and professional fees are through the roof. People just charge an arm and a leg for everything. It's beautiful, but affordable housing is a myth up there. So this would be significant if he brought 224 units up there. So he's saying, so you have to make less than 80% of the area's median income. And the median income for Marin County is $90,000 a year. So still affordable housing. Let's see, 90,000. I could probably do this in my head, huh? So 80%. But you'd have to make less than $72,000 a year for it to be affordable. That's still pretty high. Most of the country, if you're making $72,000 a year, you could buy a pretty nice house. Okay, on to the next sound effect. We're just flying through segments. It's so fun having my buttons back. I've missed them. Okay, so this, now Q, I think you found this material as well, right? This, I don't think I've seen this before. Or where did this come from? Is this a holdover from something? We're going to go with it. So this is Phoenix NTM. I'm going to have to go back and look. Maybe we did this before, if you didn't put this in here, Q. Maybe this was on the show notes I copied over. But this is nanotech matte material. This is actually coming back to me. So this is, I think we've done this before. But Carly, you've never seen this before, have you? This is brand new.
Is there an image?
It looks like that.
I'm not seeing anything.
Oh, you don't see? Let's see.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So that's here is the material. So they take this, they make this material. It's like a nano mesh, and it's micro something or another. So what I recall from this, and we can go look through here, but it's like fingerprint resistant, mold and bacteria resistant.
It was like everything resistant, Tim.
Scratch resistant, DNA resistant.
There was like a video in there where they're like scraping a fork at like full force.
Wow.
They sprayed water and even like ironed clothes on the board, and nothing happened.
Yeah, so they make it out of this super tiny mesh, and they show here that the size of the mesh is 10 to the minus 8th, I'm guessing, meters. Yeah, right there. So that's, the mesh is tinier than bacteria or a grain of salt or an orange. We're getting down to DNA level. So
Tim, I kind of dropped out a little bit when you began showing this, but have you ever specified this material, or do you have an experience with it?
That would explain why you weren't responding to me. No, I have no experience with this. It showed up in the show notes, and I thought you put it there.
No, I didn't put it there. It must have been a Haley.
Yeah, I'm thinking either she put it in, or we've done this before, and it got copied over by accident into the show notes.
I had never seen it. It was the first time I saw it, but to me, it looks it looks too good to be true almost. Like there has to be a catch.
It costs $5,000 a square foot. That's
there it is. There's the catch.
Let's see. Do we have any? Pricing on it? Product range, machining.
Actually, in fact, I requested a sample after taking a look at the website. So once I get my sample, perhaps we can revisit the material on a future show.
Very cool. Yeah, it looks like they're using it, so you could do it as a veneer on wood. Right there. We've got let's see. Looks like veneer on steel. So let's see. Oh, okay. So you can machine it, do some other stuff, get some fancy edges to it.
I'm almost thinking maybe it was meant for our previous show, since our last show was titled The Phoenix.
Oh, you're right. No, it wasn't. But man, we should have done it last week. Oh well. You know, sometimes we luck out, sometimes we don't. But, well, yeah, get the material sample, and then let's talk. Let's talk about it again and figure out what it is.
Sounds good.
We can do it. Okay, so I don't have a cool jingle for this one, but this is our time in the show when we like to talk about stuff that's controversial, provocative, something that requires deep thought. So a few months and months ago, maybe even a year ago, I sent you a link about the Adroit School of Architecture in Sacramento, and I said, hey, let's talk about this.
Adroit. I don't think there's an N in there. I think it's just Adroit, not Android.
I was thinking androids. Yes, Adroit. And you were saying, yeah, let's do a show about it. So here we are a year later. Let's do a show about it. So this is really interesting. Actually, I got an email about this, and it came up in, I do some volunteer, well, actually it's not volunteer work. I do some consulting work with the California Architects Board from time to time, and in one of the events I was doing, one of the other architects brought this up, and she was asking if any of us had seen this and if we knew anything about it. So let me fill you in real quick on this. Carly, have you heard of this before?
I have not.
Okay, let's see if I can do this really quickly. Okay, so this school is in Sacramento. It just opened. I think the school formed in 2013. I don't know if they were offering classes until 2014. But their tagline here is developing an alternate licensing path for architect accreditation and registration. And their whole pitch is that by the time you graduate, you have completed the requirements to become an architect. Now, I was looking at it closer, and it said an architect in 14 states.
Yeah.
I don't think California would be one of them because we've got an internship requirement and the CSE, and I don't know what they're offering exactly. But what's really interesting about it, I think, is they say they're an accredited architecture program. But if you look into it, they're accredited by the American Board of Architecture. So Cal Poly, I don't know if you've paid much attention to it, Carly, or Q, but Cal Poly is accredited by the National Architectural Accrediting Board, the NAB.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They're the organization that accredits pretty much every architecture program in the country. I don't know of anyone that they don't.
All the 5-year architecture Bachelor of Architecture programs, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So Adroit started their program in October of 2013, and then in August 2014, the founder of Adroit School, who is a gentleman named Atlas Cosme, he started the American Board of Architecture, who then went on to give accreditation to his own school. So I don't know if you're following me here. So he starts a school. This is how
is it a real school?
Well, I don't know. I mean, they
I have yet to hear of anybody that has attended this school or any alumni or any other news other than the fact that this school exists and supposedly is even going to offer programs in different cities throughout California and other states even. But I seem to only hear news and rumors and don't know if we can validate this as a fact?
Well, they've got an address, which doesn't mean a whole lot. But if you go to their, yeah, I mean, supposedly they have locations all over the country. Like, oh, okay, so I just figured it out. So the 14 states are states that you can become accredited in, or you can become licensed in with a degree from a non-accredited school. It says California does, but that's not. Well, yeah, I guess you have to do more. I don't know. I'll have to look at that. So the 14 states are Washington, Idaho, Colorado, Arizona, Hawaii, Oklahoma, Wisconsin, Tennessee, Maryland, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Yeah, it says their main campus is
Sacramento, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to find an address. Have you found an address? I should have done this before. Let's see, contact page. Maybe it's fake. Let's see. Oh, 315th 12th Street in downtown Sacramento. Okay. Yeah, I think I'd looked this up before because they have a real building. So, but here's what I think the scenario is. They started this school, realized they weren't going to get accredited through NAB, so in order to give themselves more credibility, they went out and started their own accrediting body, which then they did a self-accreditation to make it seem like they were legit. But yeah, so this building, it's a little hole in the wall. It's like a little retail space between a parking lot and some townhouses, and a big billboard for Round Table Pizza. So that's so okay. So here's what I want to discuss, because I don't think they're much of a threat to Cal Poly. It's not like they're going to do much to the Cal Poly program, but I do think it's interesting that they are trying, whether successfully or not is yet to be seen, they're trying to incorporate the licensure process into the educational program to where when you're done with school, you're essentially licensed. Maybe you've got a couple tests, CSC or something you got to finish, but my guess is they're going to have work, internships working into this. I mean, what do you guys think of? What do you think of that idea, that concept?
I think it's kind of one that has been thrown out there more recently, even in the AIA and in the greater architectural public. But it's difficult to decide. I think there are pros and cons. Looking back at it, if there's a program like that, it does sound pretty good. But then I wonder if I go through that program, would I have learned everything that I did through Cal Poly's system during my 5 years of school? So it's really hard to say. If anything, I've gone through the Cal Poly way and feel that I've been successful through that. So I don't see why you'd like to propose a change. But maybe there are those that simply want to get licensed or have the capital A architecture title. Doesn't necessarily mean they're better architects, in the real sense of the word. But yeah.
What do you think, Carly? If you were graduating this summer and you also got a license to practice architecture, how would you feel about that?
I would, well, at this point, I don't feel qualified to become a licensed architect because I don't have that business experience, and I mean I do have bits of experience in the field, but I think in this case, like my opinion at like first glance would be you're almost sacrificing quality for the convenience of getting in and out and having a license, and before you can really get into the nitty-gritty of architecture in the real world. So I don't know how I feel about that, but I'm a little, I don't know, yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually relieved in a sense that you actually said that, because I think at least among the more seasoned architects who've been in the practice for a while, I talk to architects a lot, other architects. A lot of them who've been practicing, for 30, 40 years, and they have this perception that the new generation coming up just want everything right now.
Yeah.
Being good architects or having the skills or the experience. They just want to be licensed and just, take the world by storm. I think they would be relieved to hear you say what you just said, where you recognize that you don't know everything yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would admit that same thing. I don't know everything, and Q, I'm sure you'd probably feel the same way.
I know nothing.
Well, I mean, so with Q saying that and me saying that, I'm an architect licensed. I own my own firm. Q, you're in process, and you're sitting on a design review commission, right?
Right.
So I'm making decisions that I stamp off on, and there's life and death choices. You're making decisions, Q, that affect entire communities, and we don't know everything.
And we know nothing.
Yeah. But that being said, over the last however many years since we graduated Cal Poly, Q, you were talking about that real world experience. Would you have felt comfortable sitting on the design review board right after graduating from Cal Poly?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any way that I could be serving in the way that I am now, right out of school. There's definitely a lot of real world experiences that I think you have to get under your belt, and even let's say doctors, they don't become practicing doctors as soon as they graduate school. They have to go through their hours and their work and real world experience. And I think the same is with architecture. If you were to say maybe with all the Cal Poly experiences that we had, and then in addition to that, to be able to become licensed soon after graduating, maybe it's a little bit more appealing. But even then, even once you become a licensed architect, like you're saying, Tim, there's still so much to learn and so much to really have to experience before you can consider yourself a pretty confident architect in your own right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
I always tread a fine line when I talk about this. So I'm involved with developing the supplemental exam for California, and that whole test is designed and focused to test the minimum competency level for an architect practicing in California. So the test to pass that says that this is the minimum level that someone should be at to practice architecture. But the test doesn't determine whether or not you're going to be a good architect. In fact, there's a lot of people who pass that test and never run their own firms. They never even stamp on a drawing, right? They go their whole careers with that license, but they never actually use it. And then I've worked with some fantastic designers who are masters at project management and designing buildings, but aren't licensed. So the license piece of it is, see, I don't want to say it's not necessary or important, because I think it is, but it's not the end all of your career. If anything, it's
Right.
just a milestone in
Mm-hmm.
that process. But so that being said, okay, so what if? So it's just a milestone. It's not the end of what actually determines being an architect. What if Cal Poly were to work into the curriculum? And actually, it does to a certain degree some of the summer programs, but let's say it did it more so, internships, to where it was like a regular part of each quarter. You worked on actual projects, and you actually got real-world experience over that 5 years. If you had done that, Carly, do you think you would feel more confident in being licensed in, let's say, 2 months from now?
I support that idea, and I think it would be great for Cal Poly to incorporate internship experience, because even though you're sort of expected to get internship experiences during the summers when you're not being a full-time student, I think it would be not only easier, but more valuable in networking and more valuable in getting real life, like, challenge you know, you have those everyday challenges in the workplace that you have to kind of wrestle through, and I think that is really helpful in um, in professional growth, and I think that would be really valuable as a student to at least experience that, even like secondhand, if you're not like fully, you know, attacking those same problems on your own. It would be good to just at least have exposure to those kind of challenges that architects face.
Yeah, I agree. I think the big problem with that is that so many people would be applying to go to Cal Poly that you would have to be like some super genius with like a 7.0 GPA to get in.
Yeah.
While Carly was saying that, I think something that I was reminded of is I almost think it's kind of a state of mind that you're in. As good as the internships might be while you're a student, thinking back to my experience at least, when I went through my internships, even when I worked throughout the summers, I always had the state of mind that, well, I'm a student, but I'm getting internship experience. And I think while that has, several great benefits, it's different once you actually graduate and you're out in the work field, full time, and you kind of put on a different thinking cap and you say, well, now I'm a graduated professional and I'm still getting experience. I think it's different. There's that state of mind you have as a student. There's a state of mind that you have as a professional, and then perhaps a third state of mind once you become a licensed architect.
Well, I know for me the big change was just kind of the importance of keeping my job. Like once you graduate, when I graduated, it was just right before the huge downturn, which happened just a little bit later. So, everything that I was doing was, okay, how do I try to make my job as secure as possible? It's a lot more competition, where like at Cal Poly, it's more collaborative. I found that once I got out, it was like cutthroat, like you're fighting to keep your job. And now that I'm, firm owner, I don't feel as much competition with other architects because we all kind of have our clients and our niches. But it's definitely, make or break. I've got to get this job so I can feed my family and keep the office doors open. There's kind of the level of pressure changes, I think, and unfortunately, it just keeps getting worse.
Well, I think the architecture profession is super complicated, right? Even the simplest residential remodel is pretty complicated. Just as much as a school project or multifamily residential or commercial building is super complex in its own right. And that's just kind of the nature of architecture. Is even from a working standpoint, developing as a student to an intern to an associate to a partner, owner, whatever it may be, it's just so complicated that I think to try to classify the whole experience into a couple of years and say, well, once you're done with this couple of years at our institution, you have what it takes is almost unreal.
Well, that's a good point too, and that's a difficult thing about licensure and the AREs is they're trying to test on such a broad range of professional practice, and then like on the tests, you have different design portions and graphical portions, and maybe you have a test that's revolving around a school or a fire department or a fire station or something, but then you in your career might never design a school or a fire station. You might do hospitals, which you might not ever have been tested on at all during your whole licensure process. So, yeah, architecture is an odd profession in that sense. Like you were mentioning lawyers and doctors earlier. Like doctors are very specialized, or they can be very specialized in what they do, and their residencies and their testing revolve around that specialty. But it'd be interesting to see how the profession changes over the next several decades. Maybe we end up with more fragmentation in the profession where you get an architecture license in hospital design or an architecture license in education or residential. That where you have to have different training and pass different tests.
Right.
Especially since, even houses now are getting so ridiculously complicated with the new Cal Green measures and just all the zoning and local regulations that make a development a lot more complicated. Like I'm doing a project right now in Palo Alto, and that city is really complicated.
It's one of the most difficult cities to work in, yeah.
Their planning zoning regulations are very difficult. Yeah. Anyways, enough of my problems. Let's talk about somebody else's problems. Did you see this story, guys? I stumbled across this. I want to just shut the link. So this popped up on my feeds here. Let me share my screen. This is so a bonfire in London started on top of the ironic part is on top of the Green Party's offices, and the Green Party, who for those of you who don't know, is a political party in England. So their solar panels caught on fire, and I guess what's going on is they're doing some remodel, and the structure is primarily vacant. But there was an electrical short on the panels, and the whole building went up in flames. And unfortunately, that's the only picture I've got is there. So my question to both of you is: are solar panels too dangerous? Should we outlaw them?
No.
Well, that was unequivocal. You're not going to debate this at all? You're not going to defend your position, Carly?
Well, I don't think they should be outlawed because it's definitely a case-by-case thing, and not all solar panels are going to go up in flames if the conditions are right. I think that might have just been a poor case of bad planning, or
maybe poor installation or poor maintenance. Yeah.
Well, we just found the title for this episode. Not all solar panels are going up in flames.
Yeah.
That was a quote of the night. Well, awesome. Well, is there anything else we want to talk about? Carly, you got a plug in from Journeyman International. Is there anything else you wanted to bring up? Q, anything else?
No, I mean, for me, I'd just like to get some more feedback from the public on our Facebook page or other social media means, and hopefully we're not doing this podcast just for our own sake, but for the benefit of others. And I would like to hear from anybody else that's listening.
Well, part of that is we've got to build our audience back up. I think people don't know that we're doing the show again, so I'm working to get the word out. When we were at our peak a couple years ago, we had several thousand people downloading the show every week, and I think the last one we just released got like 150, which is pretty good still since we just started it back up, but we are well below what we were at our peak. So now that we got Carly here and Q, both of you guys are dynamic, energetic, interesting, and good.
I know nothing, Tim. I know nothing.
Ignorance actually works really well because then people have something to argue with you about. That gets them engaged.
Well, I'll spread the word amongst the fifth-year student body at Cal Poly.
And if there's anything else, maybe if there's a particular topic or subject that students would want to, hear about, maybe bring that back to us.
Totally.
And along those lines, if anybody wants to come on the show, if they're free on a Tuesday night and they want to join in, let them know that they're welcome, and we'd love to hear what they're up to and find out what's going on.
Yeah.
And there are the closing drums, the magical slow arc drums. Well, thanks, Q. Thanks, Carly. This is fun.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Carly.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
So our next show will be in 2 weeks. We are making this thing a regular deal. So let's see. That's going to be on... Where'd it go? I'm looking at the wrong calendar.
May 5th.
Oh, no. I lost it.
May 5th.
Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo. Oh, nice. We're going to eat
It
Mexican.
could be a theme.
Sounds good. We'll see you guys then. Have a good night.
You
Good
too.
night.
And that's the end.